Good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Rao Kulusu coming to you with a special uh, day edition. Uh, Yesterday we had a special day, so that made me think about how do people approach special days in our life, our birthdays, our wedding anniversaries, our anniversary of our father's or mother's death, or the grandparents, um, or you know um, our leaders' birthdays or festivals. There's so many things that come, right? And lots of times uh, birthdays and also anniversaries are very well celebrated, and people come with a lots of ideas to celebrate them better. Yesterday it happened to be our wedding anniversary. Me and my wife were together for 27 years. So we had a a very unique way we celebrated it yesterday. We didn't uh, go out and had only fun, which we had for so many years, right? So we kind of wanted to do something that's memorable for that day. So we embarked on this small little goal that we had is to prepare a room exclusively for meditation and de-stressing ourselves, where once you enter it, the ambience itself can put you down into meditation mode. That kind of thing we kind of wanted to do, and we did that yesterday. And uh, obviously, the room came out pretty nice, pretty satisfactory for us. And then we wanted to give a gift to our children. So my daughter is here now. So she went in this morning, and then she was struck by the calmness of the room and the lack of things around it, but the things that were there have some significance in it. And there was music, and also there was if you want light music, you can. You don't have to have music. That's fine too. Otherwise, there you can stretch and breathe and meditate and focus yourself and rejuvenate yourself. Right, right. So that's what I always do with my friends who come to do yoga with me in the morning. So that's what we do. I kind of term it a very nice 1 hour of awareness practice that I call them, right? So why yesterday we picked up was we wanted it to be memorable to our near and dear ones, that they will always remember, oh yeah, they did a particular thing on that wedding anniversary. It's a purely very spontaneous decision that came up, and I was very happy about the way it turned out. We kind of rearranged our entire study into other room, and then we used that previous study, which was where I was doing a lot of my talks and all that, turned into a nice meditation room. And this morning, even though we were very tired last night, we both woke up with a lot of energy, and we went and sat there and then refreshed ourselves, and we were very happy with that. Okay, why is it important? Is all I am talking about are not the things to be talked about, even though we talk about to communicate, not to intellectualize something that is already there, but to really experience those truths that we're absorbing into our lives, right? So, some spiritual habits are really needed in this day and time when people are really stressed out and really need to remind it, not in a way of preaching or anything, but by living it and really experiencing it, and then that becomes energy producing for you, and then you can relate with other people too. That kind of thing. So I was always saying about that. Do it yourself, and then it will be taken up by more people seriously, and also more people do or not is not your concern really. Your concern is to, am I doing it in my life? That is my dictum, you know. So once we are doing that, that has its own effects, right, in our life. So the yoga and Vedanta are the two things that I really am very much keen about. The yoga gives you the balance and the purity of the mind and the senses, whereby you are prepared to really observe the deeper truths of the um, non-dual philosophy that they taught. And once you are eligible for that with a long practice of yoga, and you can really go to the goal of self-realization, which is realizing who you really are, getting into that rather some kind of permanent entity that you are, and that solves a lot of problems, right? And also it's very healthy condition. I always been telling people about how quiet you are within, how blissful you are within, gives you a very good soup you can say, inside of yourself. So none of that hurry, none of that doing stuff in a one after another. No, you enjoy a very calm demeanor, very joyful presence, and then you kind of go around whatever you are doing in a pleasant, nice way. So that's what is the real deal about these practices, these understandings, these sayings, right? Otherwise they have no meaning. It's not like showing off, like, so much. That's not it. How do you feel inside? How peaceful are you? How joyful are you? How much equanimous when things are threatened in your life? That kind of thing. Okay. So I was always looking at that scale. Otherwise, uh, however much you read, however much you remembered all the sayings that they were saying, they have no meaning if you don't have the internal atmosphere, internal nature of yours is not known, and thereby your peace yourself, your happiness itself, your blissfulness itself, right? So that they called Sat Chit Anand. That means existence, consciousness, and bliss. Not that existing. You are that existence. Not that it is conscious. It is consciousness, and it is blissful itself. So that kind of thing they kind of envisioned, and then formed a road towards it. Now, coming to the special days I was talking about. Usually, if you reduce the special days to some means of having some um, superficial uh, pleasure, in the sense of it will go away. You go to see a movie or a ball game or any of the modern things, they don't hold very much of um, lasting quality as this joy I'm talking about internally. So you want to celebrate the relationship, and also you want to really enjoy the day with your spouse. That's fine, very good. But at the same time, if you both agree there's something meaningful that we want to give to our children, at our age, at our stage, we want to do things for the children, right? So we have more enjoyment in leaving something lasting for them, rather than just a good meal or a movie or whatever it is that we are, a party or something. So we kind of shied away from that, and we kind of wanted to execute something that we believed in, something that we should be doing, right? So with that, when we did that, and uh, my kids also felt very much touched, because something that we want to leave them for the legacy, and leave them a spiritual habit that is already existing in the world, in the ancient world, and also in some of the corners of the India, where they spend some time in the morning. Um, uh, they do prayer, but we're talking about meditation, where you calm yourself down and you get to the world that is ready for you. And then also in the evening. And there should not be so much preparation for that. It should be something inviting you to that experience. It is something, the ambience built around that. You don't have to go to a temple, or you don't have to go to a particular religious institution, because that may be not possible in this day and age because of the um, amount of things people burden themselves with, or um, whether it, or you may have some problem with the conveyance going there and all that, right? So, but you can, in your very home, if you first get up and then go there and sit down and do that meditation, and go into the world with that awareness rather than in thinking mode, and then come home and unburden all the thoughts that you have accumulated through the day. That's the point. So we used that wedding anniversary because we thought that was the highest thing that we want to aspire for. That is where we are not limited by our thinking, we are not limited by our associations, we are not limited by any of the conditioned thinking. We want to be liberated from that to something unlimited and value very much in the sense of that. Okay, so once we have identified this is really the value that we want to bring it to our friends and family and all that, we want it to be seen on a daily basis. They can remember that. So the changes we made, the room we made, is going to be the same in whichever house we are going to be living in, and really asking other people to look at it and then feel what they think about it, and then also invite them if they some friends are coming to us as um, they want to have a retreat from their life. They are, remember, retreating from their life, and I always try to take them from their psychological hang-ups to stress and burnout plainly, or anxiety, depression if they have. But most of the time, they identify their lifestyles or their livelihood, and all those things are causing it. So I want them to take a step back. That is a retreating from all those patterns of thinking or habits that they have inculcated because they are unconscious about them. All for all those things, I want them to retreat not only of the past that they had, but also the future that they may be planning. I just want them to live here and now when they come, and of course they will be treated with good food and all the other things, but they will have a routine where they kind of get up and be in awareness and be in a company of people who are talking about existential issues, and then they are having not mere entertainment but meaningful joyful activities coupled with revealing truths in their mind, discussions that will be really stimulating and opening of their eyes, they said sometimes. It's not like preaching them, but it's like taking them along on a psychological journey where they really perceive what is joyful living is, what is really giving life is, what is seva, that is service to the people, that kind of thing. So once you experience that, then you want to go back to that. So there are certain ways to control your senses, to control your mind, so that they won't be limiting factor for you to really realize who you are behind that sense body, behind that mind, and all those pleasure and meaningless activities sometimes and all that. Okay, but you have to attend to your body, you have to attend to your vital body, which is the breathing, you have to attend to your thoughts, you have to attend to your emotions, you have to attend to your understandings of issues of life in the world, and finally you have to understand who you really are. That may not happen in a few days of retreat with me, but it does make them think, make them retreat from whatever they are doing. But But if there's somebody already on this exploration, and obviously we'll have a very good time discussing and finding out things in those discussions too. So that is what I created with a lot of my friends, and those are special days for me and for them too, because we are going to take a journey into our inner world without being violent about convincing anybody of anything, or defeating an argument, or intellectual um, you know um, uh, intellectual discussions to death. That's not the idea. The idea is, what do you feel about yourself? What is your experience of yourself within? How do you really um, think about the things that you feel about, the things that you say about, the things that come to your mind? Do you understand how the mind and the senses operate? Do you have a mechanism to be able to understand that and go beyond it? Those all those things are very, very important for the inner life. So this is also one of those efforts as preparing for our friends to come. They are coming. They have given the dates and all that. When they come, they will see this. They will see this kind of things. We can have more like a entertainment in the right context, but not really substantiating that entertaining entity. Who is this that getting entertained? Is entertainment in the long run is going to be uplifting us or getting us down? So that kind of thing. So it all depends upon your taste and um, your culture and everything. That's all okay, but they're all superficial, right? But you have to go deeper. Always the super human problems are always universal, existential, and they are not flickering and fleeting and going away. So that's the way it is around the world. If you go wherever beyond the superficial differences, if you look at, they are the same, right? At least I feel so. So in that way, all human being problems are the same. All human beings are the same in a way. They may have different colors, different attitudes, different way of thinking, and all that. But if we go to the deep within the human being, they are the same, right? So that is what I wanted to say for today. I wanted to share this with a lot of my friends as a somebody, something I wanted to reveal about myself, what really ticks me, what really keeps me going on this path and all that. It's a comfortable, joyful, peaceful interior, not about being clever about it, not about uh, showing how much you know, or none of it. It actually doesn't matter in the long run. What matters is, how do you feel? Who are you going to cheat? You are not going to cheat anybody except yourself if you act otherwise, right? But if you are having those peace and quiet and solitude, where you are blissful and conscious and ever present all the time. If you are like that, then that becomes a real big deal for a lot of people, right? You don't have to impress anybody, but you want to tell them, relate to them, the taste of that kind of quality of inner life. So that's what I was hoping to convey to my friends who are always listening to me, and then I want to show them what happened one day in my life, what kind of things that really made a difference for me, and how that is going to be important for my children, because as they understand what I'm talking about in life, and how to have that kind of inner quality where you're going to be equanimous to life, either very good thing happening or very bad thing happening outside. You can always keep your interior in an equanimous way. That's the idea, and that I wanted to show them, because that's not something um, tangible. That's not something you can show them objectively in a thing or anything, but it's a question of that inner subjective feeling they should be able to perceive, or they should be able to uh, think about for themselves and see what it is, and then provide ways for them to explore that, and they have to realize by themselves. All we can do is we can tell them that this is so, this is how it feels, but beyond that, how you behave with them, how you take them when things are not to your liking that they are doing, how do you accept them, how do you make them feel like it's okay, you can lead your life, but this is life's deeper truths were taught by so many people, and that's where the ancients I bring in all the time. I think they are very wise. They have discovered truths because they were able to calm the cognitive mind, which is the superficial mind, and go into their own self, and then intuitively felt the truths of this nature, truths of the world, and really gave us a lot of wisdom if you can take it. It's not like we can listen to their words and follow. No, they said listen to them, investigate them yourself, and go and experience them. When you experience them, they have a lot of value, and you will say, why didn't I realize this earlier? It's always like that, you, after a certain time, you say, why didn't they teach us this when we are children? Why didn't they allow these divisions, these conflicts, this tremendous suffering that is inflicted on each other, and also always going after things that they never really give us complete fulfillment. It's not that you can't have sensory pleasure, you cannot have money and other things, but thing is, they are not going to be forever fulfilled. That's the thing that really happens when you go with it. That you have to experience and then see whether it's truth or not. Don't believe me. Don't believe anybody. If you listen some statement that may be experience for them, but you may hear about it, but you have to experience it. That's one great thing about yoga is yoga is not about just doing the asanas, but really knowing who you are. You know, what is that permanent entity that you have within you? What is that true lasting fulfillment that you have within you? That is the one you want to focus on, right? So that is what is a human being is, where human being can have aspirations from within and impulses from within, and he also wants to be something else, but always wants the spiritual fulfillment, where he is very peaceful and quiet and happy within. If that is the goal, uh, all that comes out through the subconscious, unconscious impulses. But then the superficial mind is so occupied, you don't really get to explore them deeply. Some people are fortunate to do that, some people are not. The people who explored that, they have really spoke very wisely about so many things, and they invited us. Mind you, they invited us. They didn't say that you have to follow this. The original people who discovered the truth, they always invite us to examine what is there, and really discover them. That means realize them. That means they are already there. For us to realize, they must have been existing, right? Those kind of processes, this kind of truths, this kind of methods, all that they talked about. We can take, for example, when you get up in the morning, if you don't know that it is, we are aware to begin with, and then the thoughts happen, you can get caught up in the thought induced matrix, or thought induced machine, or the web, whatever we call it. We can get caught up in that, and everybody else is operating at that level all over the world, all over the place. You can get into that much more, right? Whereas if you say, okay, let me manage my thoughts. Let me not to be impulsive and unconscious and compulsive about them, but let they come. Let me just observe that. Let me not be that right away in the morning. Let me be the awareness mode, and then operate with awareness, using the thought as your faculty, as your instrument. Thought and bodies being your instrument, you can manage them much better. But then it all depends on your energy, it all depends on your mental habits, it all depends upon how far you can go quietly, all those things. They're not judgmental things, but everybody has their journey. So you got to be uh, patient, you got to be peaceful, and you got to be persevering to the spiritual goals, right? So there are simple things you can find out for yourself. Am I quiet inside, or am I always running? Am I really fearful inside, or am I really able to take risks, and then if I lose, I can enjoy that too? That kind of thing. All those things, answers are within you, and only you can tell what is really going on. With that kind of mirror, you can go into the life and then see what is reflecting in you from whatever is happening and how you are behaving in those circumstances. So all this spirituality is important at this time because we have really generated a information generating machines, like every lifestyle has produced so much information, and also enticing us to go into so many things at the same time, and that has become a problem for people to really be here and now and stop thinking and just enjoy the sunset, just enjoy the sunrise, or the moonlit night, or just the water gushing at the river, or the wind that is blowing on our face, not in a cool bad way like here in America, in the Midwest I am now, but I'm talking about just a cool breeze that we can enjoy. So nature gifts, so many are there, right? We never really pay attention to that. So that's what I'm talking about. Spend quality time, especially on the special days. Make them memorable for you and for whoever your loved ones are, and then do something that is deep meaning. I mean, that's a day to relax. That's a day to really party and not worry about anything. That's fine. But you can live the same thing here and now if you are in awareness and if you are controlling your thoughts. All days you can live like that, but you can have that or particular day as a special day for doing that kind of thing. So that's what I wanted to talk about special days and how you really go around that. A particular person's birthday or celebrating, for example, like a sage, like a nobleman, like a statesman, and among the politicians, or community leader, or somebody that displayed to you enormous affection and enormous humaneness. That way he is very humane with you, very compassionate to you, kind to you. Those kind of people you can really with their traits, that qualities that really enrich and not only them but also the family, the society. So those kind of days as special birthdays of for example, Gandhi. I am very fortunate because I loved Gandhi, his philosophy and all that, right? He was born on no, October 2nd. He was born on October 2nd. And my son was born on the same day. So I thought I was very blessed that he was born on that day. So we will celebrate his, but also we talk about Gandhi's contribution to truth and non-violence and political movements, how they changed the color of violence to non-violence. At least in the case of Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela, they really followed that, right? But then Gandhi followed ancient people's principle of non-violence. And his non-violence was not just to be violent, take up arms. That's not the only thing. Other thing is, in his mind, he doesn't want to make enemies out of the people who are suppressing them. So he said, Britishers are also my brethren, but I'm going to raise against the injustice of what they are doing. So behavior he is against, but not against the people. That's really very narrow line where you say, I'm not going to hate this racist person, but I'm going to raise against his policy of racism, that kind of thing. So I get to talk to these things when my son's birthday comes around, and that's a special day for me. Both days, the Gandhi, I love him, and then my son, I love him. So I kind of celebrate that day with that kind of revisiting what Gandhi stood for, what he said, how we should really understand him. A lot of people don't understand Gandhi is a spiritual being. And somebody asked him, "What are you? Are you a social reformer, or are you a freedom fighter fighting for the freedom of India?" Yeah, he said, "Oh, I'm neither of them. People think I'm only that. I'm not only that, but also I kind of want to find my truth, of the spiritual truth. That is, I'm a simple man in the search of truth of spirituality. That's what he said all the time, and he was very spiritual in his. That's why he didn't aspire to be prime minister, president, or any of those things. When independence came to India, he was. He didn't have to have. That's the secret about things. These things are, you will be very quiet and blissful within. Everything else outside seem to be unnecessary, and you don't have any big penchant of having to have this, nothing like that. So you have already achieved whatever you have to achieve. Once you are in that spiritual realm where it is forever fulfilled, and you are the happiness and you are the peace, then you don't require anything to go out and get. So those things fall up. That's why it didn't seem a big deal for Gandhi to reject any position or any riches, anything like that. He's already very contented, happy within, and he wanted India to be freed, but he did. But he was not happy about one thing, though, the aspect of division of India, and also all these Muslims and Hindus are killing each other. He was despondent about those two factors, but he was against them from the beginning. He didn't want India to be divided. He didn't want these Muslims and Hindus killing each other. That really gave him a lot of unpleasantness and unhappiness for him. He was very broken man on that way. But in his deeper heart, he knew that he was this non-dying, getting birth of a soul that is permanent, and he was stationed in that. And that's why his writings on all those reflected that. He wasn't talking about parochial, what is good for me, what's good for my country, nothing like that. He was thinking the entire humanity. I was thinking about the common behavior wherever you go. So he had been around the world, right? So he knew about the world, he knew about what was going on, but he has a message for the entire universe. And that's why they call him Mahatma. But then he was a very simple man going for his spiritual truth. That was his main activity. On the side, this freedom fight, on the side, social reformer and all that. He wanted to speak about these things. That's why he became such a big deal for a lot of people in those spheres. But people who really knew him always maintained that he was a spiritual being looking for his spiritual truths all the time. His prayers, his meditations, his writings, everything reflected that. So that's the way to spread, really, I think, to really celebrate a special day. Either it was a birthday, or it is an anniversary day, wedding anniversary, or anything. I think that's how we should really celebrate, by living the truths that represent that. A great man is born on that day, you're celebrating him, like a George Washington or any of the greats, right? Then you understand what was their courage, what were their sacrifices that brought you whatever you have. It could be freedom, or it could be an emancipation of their poverty, or more chances to live better. All those things people have sacrificed and got it for other people, right? The important thing is, when they were doing that, they were doing service to the other people, they were very happy. That's the key of secret of the service is when you are doing service, you are very, very happy. To be able to have the ability to do the service, you should be spiritual. That is the one that is really helpful. Okay. So anybody wants to come up and talk on the wisdom app, you are more than welcome to come and tell me what you think about this. Okay. If you want to come up, I'll be here for a few minutes more. I think my Instagram is not working today. I don't know why, but I'm on the Wisdom and Clubhouse and the other channels one way. And so that is the message for today about actually reporting, not the message, reporting to you guys what is happening. Let's see, some Murad is here. He wants to come up. Let's see. Hello, Murad.
Hi, Mr. Doctor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Murad?
I'm fine. Thank you so much to invite me.
Yeah. So, what do you think? What I was talking about?
Really, I don't know what do you talk about. I come just now.
Ah, okay.
I want to know. I want to know about your issue which you talk.
No, no. We were saying about special days, how we celebrate, and how we really look at that particular day through that lens of that life that was spent. So I was talking about wedding anniversaries and birthdays and all that. How we can do something special. Yeah,
Thank you so much, Mr. Doctor. We are celebrate many special day in
yeah,
our life. Some of the holidays,
yeah,
which relate to the different religion in the world.
yeah,
We are Muslim. We celebrate
yeah.
a lot of days
Yes.
like Eid,
Yeah. I know
and
you. Yeah,
also we are Afghans, and we celebrate Nowruz. In the coming day, inshallah we will celebrate Nowruz.
yeah. Okay. Good, good.
And other day we celebrate in our life, in a
Mm.
special day, and also some of the other days like our birthday,
Yeah,
and also others we celebrate it.
yeah. That's good. Okay, that's what I was talking about. How can they be enliving us and then lifting us? If you can remember the message of the day of why they intended originally, I think it's a very good thing for us to relieve our stress of the present day.
Yes, really,
Mm.
it's a good idea, and also you select a good issue to talk about.
Yeah.
But what about you, Mr. Doctor?
Wow, I we had a wedding anniversary yesterday, so we were celebrating with creating a room for meditation in the house. So we worked all day just to make that room come with that atmosphere where anybody talks in. There is a you can go there and immediately quiet room. You invites you to participate in that. That kind of. I was sharing with my friends that that's all. That's no big deal. But how we did that yesterday, I wanted to share with my friends. That's why I was talking about that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Doctor.
Yeah,
I think you are from India, Mr. Doctor.
I'm in the United States now, but I originally came from India in 1981. I've been living here in United States.
It's good. Thank you, Mr. Doctor.
Okay, bye bye now. Okay. All right. With that, we will close the rooms. Anybody wants to come up on the wisdom? One more chance. Otherwise, I will close the room. Okay. All right. I will be taking leave now. So thank you.